Everybody, welcome back to Off the Wall. I'm Mike.
And I'm Sol.
I'm Bogz.
All right, so they finally dropped the list of nominees for the 95th Academy Awards, awarding the films were released in 2022. So we're going to go through kind of the main big ones because we don't have time. I sound like the Oscars. We don't have time for the technical awards. I love them. We might do that in a different thing. We'll see. But we're going to go through the main ones, your acting categories, your best picture, your best director, and your best animated. And am I missing one?
International.
Best international. Thank you. So we'll go through the big ones there and just give some thoughts on the list of nominees and maybe make some predictions. We'll see how we go. So we'll start. Let's start with, let's get out this as we mentioned it, best international film. The best international feature film, we've got All Quiet on the Western Front, which is from Germany. We've got Argentina, 1985 from Argentina. We've got Close from Belgium. We've got EO from Poland and The Quiet Girl from Ireland. Now, I've only seen All Quiet on the Western Front. I don't know about either of you. Have you seen any of the others?
I've seen All Quiet on the Western Front and then Argentina 1985.
So you've seen two. Bogz and I have only. Bogz, haven't seen any of them?
Nope.
Not a single one? Okay. So that Sol and I have both talked about All Quiet on the Western Front. So we'll talk about that in a sec. Since you've seen Argentina 1985, Sol, why don't you tell us a little bit about it and how you feel about it here?
Well, Argentina 1985, it was a good movie. I really enjoyed it. It's also on Netflix. That's why I saw it. And I speak Spanish, so I didn't have to read the subtitles, so that was good for me. But pretty much it's self-explanatory. It's Argentina in 1985. I don't want to spoil what goes on. You can also look at history, but I want to leave it for everyone to watch.
All right. Well, as far as All Quiet on the Western Front goes, we mentioned that one's from Germany. Sol and I have both seen it. And I remember, I think I saw it first, and I texted you, and I just said, like, it's really good, but it's a lot. And I think it's very good, but I don't think I can ever watch it again.
I thought it was phenomenal. I read the book in high school, saw the original movie in high school, which was a Best Picture winner. And then just watching it this time, I was like, this is so good. It's really depicting a lot of what happened in the book. It's the atrocities of war. It really shows just the absolute horribleness of war at that time, how dirty, like the makeup. And no, we're not talking about makeup and stuff, but like how dirty like everyone gets by the end of the movie because they're in the trenches in the mud. It was an experience to watch. And it would be a hard rewatch, but I think I'd watch it again.
I'm curious to see how this one does because of first of all, you mentioned that the last one, was it the last one or the first one that was a Best Picture winner?
The first one. The second one was a TV movie.
You're right. Yeah. So the first one was an Oscar winner. I don't know if we've ever had a situation before where a remake of a movie that was an Oscar winner has ever been up for nomination. I don't think we've ever seen both the original and a remake being nominated before, which I think is kind of interesting.
Has not the one that has Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga.
Stars.
Is that A Star is Born?
Oh, you know what?
Totally.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'd have to go back and look on that, but I think you're right. But still, that's such a rare thing. Granted, remakes are still kind of a modern thing. But anyway, I'm also curious how it's going to do because it's also, and this is kind of spoiler for later in the video, but it's also nominated for Best Picture. And it kind of makes me wonder because, the same thing kind of happened like with Roma, where it was nominated for both. It took the international feature film but not Best Picture, which was kind of everyone's favorite. So for Best Picture that year.
But then we had Parasite the following year.
That's true. So it's not like it's never happened before, but it is kind of an anomaly, especially against everything else in the Best Picture category, which we'll save that for the end. So with that being said about the international feature films, let's go ahead and go to Best Animated Feature Film. We've got Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. We've got Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. I had to breathe for a sec before I said that one. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, The Sea Beast, and Turning Red. The only one of these I have not seen is The Sea Beast and Marcel the Shell. I've seen the other three. Bogz, what about you?
I believe I've only seen Pinocchio.
Just Pinocchio.
I don't think Puss in Boots is released yet in the UK. I don't know about you guys, but
it just came out, I think.
It's like a November or December release.
Yeah, it was released in December, but I don't think it's been released. It doesn't say anything about a world release yet, so I don't think it has been released internationally yet. I could be wrong, but from what I'm reading, it seems like it hasn't been yet. But Soul, what about you? What have you seen out of this list?
I've seen Pinocchio and I've seen Turning Red. And interesting with Sea Beast, Netflix was really pushing for Wendell and Wild. And they actually, the Sea Beast was the one that got nominated, which is also Netflix. So Netflix got a nomination, but not for the one that they were pushing, which is very interesting.
Yeah, it is. I think this is a solid list, just out of the ones I've seen anyway. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is an interesting one to come up, especially considering how recent it is. And we talked at length about how much we all enjoyed Pinocchio in our review of it. So please go watch that review. But Turning Red was the one that I actually forgot came out last year. I thought it was the year before. I'm happy. I really enjoyed it. I was happy to see it get nominated. Bogz, for you, having not seen all the other ones on this list, just based on like what you know and what you've heard on your own about them, how do you feel about Pinocchio's chances?
I think it's pretty strong. It is very good. Technically, the style very different from the rest. Being like a Pixar or like a standard 2D animation. So it's a way to give. Guillermo del Toro is obviously an Oscar favorite as well. So that's good, but not too many blockbusters, I feel, in this one. Normally there's a couple that have done really well at the box office, but apart from maybe Turning Red, because it was quite a while ago, I don't 100% remember if it was actually released at the box office. I remember, or was it a straight to Disney Plus release? But not too many big hits. I don't know how Puss in Boots is going to do worldwide, but I just found that interesting. And just I didn't say anything about the international because I haven't seen them. I can't wait to watch All Quiet on the Western Front, of course. But I will say that Triple R was a big disappointment for some not to be nominated. I know some people absolutely love it. Some people do not like that movie at all. So that's really interesting. But I thought with the hype, maybe it could have, but wasn't to be. I'll
India didn't give that movie though. They they nominated a different movie than Triple R, so it couldn't be in the international film anyways.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay. That's why.
I'm glad you actually mentioned that. I meant to bring that up, and it totally slipped my mind because I was surprised about that too. I didn't know that, Soul. So because RRR is one. I still haven't seen it, but everyone keeps telling me how the hell have you not seen this yet? And it's a lot of stuff to watch.
Even James Cameron loved it.
I know, and he hates everything he doesn't make. I'm kidding. I'm kidding, guys. I will say Marcel the Shell with Shoes On is one that I remember making some waves, at least here where I'm at. Our independent theater had it forever. And my brother, who's a big independent film guy, he went and saw it, and he couldn't say enough about it. Soul, what about you? I mean, I know we kind of talked about which ones we've seen, but just in general, how do you feel about the different movies chances here with animated feature film?
I think it's either between Pinocchio or Marcel the Shell with shoes on, because all the critics seem to love Marcel the Shell with shoes on. There we go. Hard to say. English is hard. But to Boggs's point, Guillermo del Toro, he's already an Oscar winner. So, and the movie was really good. So I think it's between those two.
I also think didn't it win a Golden Globe? I
didn't watch the Golden Globe.
I'm looking it up right. I'm scrolling right now. It won Best Animated Feature Film Golden Globe. So that's usually a decent indicator. So we'll see. I'm definitely rooting for Pinocchio. Out of the ones I have seen, I enjoyed Turning Red just fine. It just wasn't as good as Pinocchio. So now let's go into Best Supporting Actress. We've got Angela Bassett for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. We've got Hong Chow from The Whale. We've got Carrie Condon from The Banshees of Inisherin. Then we've got Jamie Lee Curtis in Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Stephanie Hsu, I believe I'm saying that right, I apologize, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Bogz, start with you. Out of these, which ones have you seen, and how do you feel about them?
So I've seen Wakanda Forever. I've seen Everything Everywhere All at Once. I haven't seen The Whale. And what was the last one?
The Banshees of Inisherin.
I have seen the Banshees of Inisherin as well. So I have seen, the majority of these. I thought personally Angela Bassett was a bit of a surprise in that I didn't see too much of her being favorited to get nominated. On top of that, I really was blasé about that movie. I thought it was quite dull. And for me, she's done at least 10 better performances than that. So I just didn't seriously consider that to be nominated. But all the rest, I haven't seen The Whale, but the other three, the Jamie Lee Curtis and the young girl from Everything Everywhere All at Once, definitely good performances. I can't see, or for me, the favorite one for me personally is I forgot her name, but the girl from Banshees of Inisherin. I think that was my that was my probably one I liked the most. I just preferred that kind of subtle style that she approached to that story, because really small scale story, and she's an integral part to Colin Farrell's character. I just like her, the way that she portrayed it, and the way she came across, very endearing. Where Everything Everywhere All at Once girls are probably the villains, kind of, without spoiling it. So in a kind of multiverse way. So the villains, but not really. So I guess what I mean. But I just preferred the kind of very endearing portrayal from her in Banshees of Inisherin. So I will say personally that, but I think they're probably going to go with Angela Bassett as a statement kind of thing, and respect thing. But I'm not sure. But I'll probably say Angela Bassett for that.
I think, and to go off what you were saying too, when you think about how many other roles Angela Bassett has had, the last time she was even nominated for a Academy Award was for What's Love Got to Do with It in 1993. It's been 30, and she didn't win.
Yeah.
It's been 30 years since the Oscars paid her any attention, and she didn't win that last time. It's in that really, when you said that, I thought about it and I went to look, and I could not believe, I could not believe that statistic. I do kind of agree with you though. I haven't seen as many of these. I've seen Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. I liked it more than you did, although a lot of your criticisms I totally agreed with. And that's it. I'm seeing The Whale later this week, so I'll time travel or something. But I do think you're right. I think when you consider that other than technical awards, this is the only one that Black Panther: Wakanda Forever has received. Reviews and reactions were kind of mid on the movie as a whole. But when you look at the legacy of the actor we're talking about here with Angela Bassett, it does kind of seem like they're nominating her to give it to her. Because if the movie itself, because like I said, other than like technical awards, they're not paying it any other attention here. So if
she also won the Golden Globe.
She won the Golden Globe. So go back to that. Soul, what about you? Which of these have you seen, and how do you feel about the odds of the women nominated?
I feel like it's gonna be either between Angela Bassett or Jamie Lee Curtis, because I feel like it's one of those honoring the body of work, which we've seen that type of Oscar happen. Leonardo DiCaprio, that kind of happened for him when he finally got his Oscar win. I really did like Everything Everywhere All at Once. So to me, I would want it to be either Jamie Lee Curtis or Stephanie Sue, but I feel like it's going to be between Angela Bassett or Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis also, by the way, this is her first nomination in her career, which just again is mind-boggling when you think about it. So we could have potential for one of these women to have their first ever Oscar, as well as I don't know the others as well. I haven't seen the movies to really comment on it, but that'll be curious to see. Let's look next at Best Supporting Actor. We've got Brendan Gleeson for The Banshees of Inisherin, Brian Tyree Henry for Causeway, Judd Hirsch for The Fabelmans, Barry Keoghan for The Banshees of Inisherin, and Ke Huy Quan for Everything Everywhere All at Once. I haven't seen any of these, so I'm not really going to comment. Bogz, as for you, I know you said you've seen the Banshees of Inisherin and Everything Everywhere All at Once. Have you seen The Fabelmans or Causeway?
I have not, no. And I thought it was a little bit surprised for them two nominations, personally, because I saw that Paul Dano was heavily favored to get nominated, especially with the year that he's had with the Batman and with the Fabelmans. So I think that was a big shock for him not to get nominated. But yeah, from this, I'm going to say Short Round. I love Short Round. I'm going to call him Short Round. I don't care. Yeah, I mean, for him to be retired for more than 30 years, and he was probably my favorite part of that movie. He will make you absolutely smile. He has action scenes. The way he plays, innocent, unassuming, and action hero. Is really good, and he's like he comes across as like a really sweet, endearing guy, and he kind of carries that through into the movie, and I genuinely was really interested and rooting for him, and yeah, that's why I would really like him to win. Obviously, he won the Golden Globe and get that speech and everything, and I just think it's like it's a Short Round, and and obviously he's played several characters as well, won the Goonies, etc. But he's like a staple for a lot of people, in the 80s and stuff. So it's just a nice touch that you can go away and come back and still be that awesome guy. And I really want him to win.
And imagine his Oscar speech too.
Oh. And the director of Crazy Rich Asians is going to be sitting going, I made that happen. That was one of my favorite things Ke Huy Quan has said, is that he was watching Crazy Rich Asians, and that's what made him want to come out of retirement, because of all movies.
People liking Asian faces on screen.
Yeah. It's amazing. Again, amazing what representation can do for people. All right, so let's go now to Best Actress.
No, none of my thoughts on this.
Oh, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. Oh my God, I apologize.
It is Short Round's to lose.
Yeah,
Ke Huy Quan. Yeah, it's his award. Next, you can go on now.
I got a next. Okay,
I will say I did really like Barry Keogh in Banshee
Yeah.
Inisherin. Banshee Inisherin, the best thing about that by far is the acting.
That movie
wasn't a
completely
massive. Yeah, I think it's on Netflix. I believe I
Okay.
saw it on.
It's on HBO Max for us, Mike.
Oh, for you guys.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't absolutely love the movie like everyone does. It's good. So long, but it's the acting is really really good from that the main, what is it, 4 of them. So yeah, and he's really good as well. He's another one that's in the Batman, but he's really interesting as the character that he plays, and kind of tragic arc that he has. But yeah, he definitely added a lot to that. So if he won, I'd be happy to. He's pretty good.
Yeah. All right. It's he seems to be, and again, he won the Golden Globe, so it's like Soul said, it's his to lose, and Ke Kwan's, but Barry Keoghan is a guy who, especially coming off of the Eternals the year before, has had a very good year. And like you mentioned, the Batman, like that scene with that deleted Joker scene, we've all like, it's incredible how talented he is. So
great character
His face
by
just
the
looks
scene.
evil.
What, Soul?
I said Barry Keoghan's face just looks evil. Like
He
he'd be great for a villain.
It's like the guy who's playing Aemond in House of the Dragon. Just good face.
Yeah.
All right. So best actress, we've got Cate Blanchett from Tar. We've got Ana de Armas for Blonde. Andrea Riseborough from To Leslie. Michelle Williams from The Fablemans, and Michelle Yeoh from Everything Everywhere All at Once. I've only seen one of these. I've seen Blonde, but and I'm going to get everybody else's thoughts. I'm going to give mine first. I mean, if it's not Michelle Yeoh, based on the year she's had, I don't know what we're even really doing here. Bogz, what about you? Have you seen, other than Everything Everywhere All at Once, have you seen any of these? And who's your money on here?
I don't think so. Remind me the first nomination that you said.
Tar, Cate Blanchett.
No, but I do actually want to see that. So I believe that it's between Cate Blanchett and Michelle Yeoh. With Michelle Yeoh, it's like a career thing as well, I feel, in the way of honoring her. And I think she's good in it as well. It's for me, personally, I think that she has been better in other movies personally, but I do understand why people why she's favorited to win that award, because she's good in it. And she has a massive range from emotion to action to the fighting ability, the martial arts, whatever, to her different personalities and like all that. So everything everywhere all at once, multiverse story, just by that nature it has to show lots of different sides to you. So she's good, but I think it's between them two personally. The others I've not seen, but it'll be I think it's Michelle Yeoh's to lose.
I'm inclined to agree.
And obviously, sorry, to a bit of an outcry for potentially Viola Davis not getting nominated as well for The Woman King.
Yeah,
and that kind of being snubbed in general.
Danielle Deadweiler too from Till, like that's, to me, feels like she should have gotten a nom.
I heard Till was very good.
Yeah, and her performance, I mean, just she's playing a mother who loses her son, like the type of performance that you have to put into that. She was phenomenal in that movie.
And was Michelle Williams, did you say, nominated?
Yeah, Michelle Williams for The Fablemans.
Yeah, she's quickly becoming one of the best actresses in the world, to be honest. Like almost everything she does now gets nominated, or she's just so good in, like, even in bad movies. Like she is just one of the best actresses in the world, like right now, working actresses. I forgot the girl's name, but the redhead that is also being nominated, I'll have to check it out. I always keep my eye on her because
Andrea Riseborough.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, she's English, but she's always I remember she stood out for me. She was in that movie with Tom Cruise, Oblivion. which I've got a soft spot for, that sci-fi movie. And I thought she was so good in it. She was like really interesting and quite cold. Lots of again, massive range. And I always thought, she's got a lot of potential. Like, why isn't she a bigger star than she is? And out of the blue, she seems to have got a nomination. So that movie's about 10 years old now. But good for her, I guess. But I don't think she'll win though. But good to see her getting nominated.
It's one of those you find out you've been nominated, and then you find out who you're up against, and you're just like, well, darn, okay. I guess I know what's happening. I'll look pretty at least. Not winning.
She worked very hard for that nomination.
She did.
So the To Leslie, I have not seen it. It was an indie film, not in a lot of theaters. Not very many people saw that movie.
It didn't come.
What she did was she used her connections in Hollywood to try to get a nomination. She basically self-funded her own nomination, like, for your consideration. So she did that herself because she's like, I deserve to be nominated, and like put her own money into it, used her connections and networking to get this nomination. So that, for me, that's just the interesting part. So if she does win at all for this movie that no one has seen,
yeah,
it would be very, very interesting. But I think it's probably going to be between Cate Blanchett or Michelle Yeoh for this one. I have not seen Tar, but I hear she's very, very good in it. So, but I loved Everything Everywhere All at Once. So I'm going to go with Michelle Yeoh.
I cannot believe I still haven't seen it. I'll be completely honest with you. It's kind of shocking to me from what I've heard about it. Now we got a Best Actor. We've got Austin Butler for Elvis, Colin Farrell for The Banshees of Inisherin. We've got Brendan Fraser for The Whale, Paul Mescal for After Sun, and Bill Nighy for Living. I mean, if it doesn't go to Brendan Fraser, I will probably cry. I mean, I'm going to cry if he does win too, but like it's going to be
so tears either way.
Either way, but they're not going to be good tears. Bogz, which of these have you seen, and how are you feeling about Brendan Fraser's chances here?
Yeah, they're pretty strong. Clearly he was a favorite from months ago. Really, I haven't seen it, so I probably will purely for his performance. Well, the nominated the actors that were nominated. But Colin Farrell's really good, in Banshees of Inisherin. Again, shows a massive range. He carries the story, being really vulnerable at times to quite malicious, and funny as well. Again, he's another one had a fantastic year. Whether it's the Batman, people were, that was rumored he would get nominated for that, even for the Penguin. So again, another great year. Again, he's one of the best actors in the world right now, best working actors. I mean, I look forward to his projects because he's exciting as an actor. So I would like to see him personally. But again, what a nice story for Brendan Fraser. Legend in the 90s and stuff, and just again, obviously he didn't go away anywhere, but he's kind of out of retirement. That's what it feels anyway. To win, it would be great. But yeah, I'm going to say it solely for him. Let's say that. But long shot Colin Farrell, but yeah, it's definitely Brendan Fraser to lose.
Yeah, it's just, and I agree with the Colin Farrell thing. Like, this guy has been around so long, and how far he's come to being taken as seriously as he is as an actor is, and I like you said, like the Batman, for me, I was so sure he was going to get a supporting actor nomination for it because I've watched that movie 1,000 times. I can't tell you where he is in the movie. I don't see him. Soul, what about you? Where are you sitting with our Best Actor list?
Yeah, it's Brendan Fraser's, right? Like, it's his award. Hopefully we don't get Chadwick Boseman with it, but
oh yeah,
when everyone was like, "Oh, it's Chadwick Boseman's award," and then it wasn't. Austin Butler might, because
sorry, I totally forgot about him. Yeah.
He did embody Elvis, and we saw Rami Malek get the award for when he played Freddie Mercury. I didn't like that movie that much. It was really long.
Mhm.
But he did embody Elvis, so he has some pretty good chances. But yeah, this is Brendan Fraser's.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned that, because when you look at the difference between Elvis and Bohemian Rhapsody, that was a situation where you had, people were, I think, mixed to mostly positive for Elvis, but everyone came out of it raving about how good Austin Butler was. With Bohemian Rhapsody, people adored that movie and were like losing their minds for how much Rami Malek
Nearly
transformed.
$1 billion as well. It was
Yeah,
900 and something. So
yeah, and that ran. I mean, and that was the number one of the box office for months. So I'll be really curious to see if we have another situation like that. But I think with Elvis, it might be a bit trickier. It didn't have that kind of like critical acclaim that Bohemian Rhapsody did, even though Austin Butler people were raving about
Yeah.
him.
And I
But
mean,
yeah, I
it
think
did get a nom that we're going to talk about in a little bit. So maybe it did get that critical acclaim.
maybe, yeah,
and he did obviously win the Golden Globe for Best
Yeah.
Actor as well. And obviously Lisa Marie Presley recently died as well. So I think that would be potentially for ratings or whatever you want to say, or like a respect statement thing, to give, honor to her in a speech, Elvis's only child. That could be, like it clipped out quite a lot. Do you know what I mean? It could be a nice moment for them potentially. So I haven't seen it. I probably will see it just for his performance. But yeah, I totally forgot about him. He's got a fair shout as well.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to come down to those two. I would be a little surprised if Brendan doesn't take it, but if Austin gets it, if it's one of those two, I'm not going to blink. Let's go ahead and go into Best Director. We've got 5 nominations here. We've got Steven Spielberg for The Fabelmans. I'm going to butcher this name. Ruben Östlund, Triangle of Sadness. We've got Martin McDonough for The Banshees of Inisherin, Todd Field for Tar, and Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert. I'm so bad.
The Daniels, just say the Daniels.
The Daniels for Everything Everywhere All at Once. I mean, I'm thinking it's probably going to go to Everything Everywhere All at Once the way things have been going. Bogz, what about you?
Potentially, yeah. Obviously, multiverse story, told well. So yes, that's a, to be honest, with the I actually found it a little hard to follow, particularly in the middle. So because intertwining, multiverses and interconnecting stories, you get confused with some of the characters. Like for me, like it was it did cross my mind, like the direction of this. They could have done it maybe a little simpler in a way, but I do understand the technical achievement that they've done. So, and along with the editing and everything like that, it all comes together. So I understand why they got a nomination, but it it just wasn't the most. It just wasn't the best direction, personally. I've ever seen, but I think they're the favorites. Banshee and Inisherin, again, directed well, really slow paced, almost completely opposite to Everything Everywhere All at Once. Really slow paced, obviously focused on this small story on a tiny island, all character based, all in rooms. But yeah, I think it'll probably go to Everything Everywhere All at Once. So the Daniels, Steven Spielberg as well, because that story is about Hollywood and about loosely told about Spielberg himself and his love for Hollywood. So it could be his love letter to Hollywood. So it could be them to give him back, to him an Oscar potentially. So, and he hasn't won in a while as well. So it could be him as well. This is a bit up in the air for me.
Yeah, the Oscars love stories about Hollywood.
I was just about to say that.
Positive ones. Positive ones.
Yeah, it's positive ones. Yeah.
The Oscars love stories about Hollywood, and the Oscars love Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
So.
Kinda. I mean, like Bogz said, he hasn't won in a while.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be him. Although I would love to see the Daniels win.
Sure,
And
sure.
I really want to see Triangle of Sadness. It didn't come out here in Miami.
No,
So
not
I
here
have to
either.
look to see where I can watch that. It has Woody Harrelson in it, and I love Woody Harrelson. Um, so I'll have to like check that out and I'll let you guys know. But yeah, I think it's Stevens. I think he's gonna get another one.
From what I'm hearing as well, from the way that All Quiet on the Western Front was made,
That should
I
have been
believe that
nominated.
was, yeah, especially if something is similar in a very loose way to 1917. That was so acclaimed at the direction and this, and if this is adjacent to that in any way, I think that was it's been highlighted that's definitely one that was missed out.
Yeah, I was very surprised to not see that one on here. I
Mm.
don't know particular what you take off. Maybe Triangle of Sadness, because I've not heard of this movie at all. I've heard no conversation about it, and we all roll pretty deep in the film sphere on things like Twitter and all that.
I haven't
So
heard of it personally.
yeah,
But
I hear it's really good.
okay,
I
Yeah.
will say as well, Top Gun Maverick for direction. The fact that you are
yeah,
telling a sequel to a 30-plus-year-old story, 35-year-old story, whatever it is, with the biggest movie star in the world, a big scale story. I would have kind of liked to see that as well. Over what was it, $1.5 billion worldwide.
yeah.
That should be honored for me by the Academy, but
Mhm.
For
maybe not. Maybe not.
Yeah.
For me, I don't find it as much as like a snub in directing. What I do find it as a
No,
snub in, and we're not going to talk about, is cinematography. How the hell did that not get nominated for cinematography?
I haven't seen it still, so I,
I,
I know I spent a lot less time at the theater this year, but also I was never like I didn't grow up with Top Gun, and it wasn't one like so I don't have like a connection, any like attachment to it personally. Also it's been a busy year, guys. All right, well let's get into the big one here, Best Picture. 10 films nominated. We've got All Quiet on the Western Front. We've got Avatar: The Way of Water, The Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fablemans, Tar, Top Gun Maverick, Triangle of Sadness, and Women Talking. I have seen exactly one of these, and that is All Quiet on the Western Front, which I think has a fair a shot as most of the movies. Sure, because it's the only one I've seen, but it's a very good movie. It is an excellent movie. I won't say it's a fun time at the theater or at the TV, because it's a lot. There's not too many moments of levity. But it is nice to see a film of that scale, of that quality from the international market getting that love, because to be nominated for international feature and best picture, it doesn't happen often, and it's nice when it does. But because it is also nominated for best international feature, I have a feeling we're probably going to get a Roma situation where everyone's going to vote for it. No one's going to vote for it for best picture because they're thinking, well, it's going to win international feature. So
Parasite
I know I'm not saying it never happens. It's just
and
rare.
the original one as well.
Yeah. So, which it would be really interesting to see like an international film win both awards, and then its remake does the same thing.
This is me manifesting it, because out of all these movies that
Yeah.
I've seen and haven't seen, I want it to be All Quiet on the Western Front, because I
As
think
opposed
it
to what
was
else?
because I don't think Avatar: The Way of Water is going to get it. I don't think Elvis is going to get it. I think everything everywhere all at once could get it with all the hype that it's had. Um I don't know. The Fablemans could, because Oscars love Hollywood. I have not seen Tar. Um I don't think they're going to give it to Top Gun Maverick. I haven't seen Triangle of Sadness or Woman Talking. My favorite movie of all of these is All Quiet on the Western Front. I think it is the best movie out of all of these. I think it's the most skillfully made. It's the most tragic. It's the one that makes you feel the most as you're watching it. And I think the fact that it had the original one, it is a story that obviously moviegoers are willing to see again. It's a story of the German side, which last time we had Americans making that movie, and this time it's Germans making that movie. So I think it's got a shot. I'm hoping for it. It's probably going to be Everything Everywhere All at Once, though. But I want it to be All Quiet on the Western Front.
Boggs, what about you? How you feeling about this one?
Yeah, I really need to watch that All Quiet on the Western Front. I will, pretty much straight after this. But I don't know. It's a tough one. I will objectively say that I think personally it has been quite a low quality in terms of just Hollywood blockbuster movies in general. Like, these are the best 10 movies that we like. For me, that's it's really not good. Like, in terms of other previous years, it's like best of a like not very good bunch, to be honest. That's just a side note. But for me, I would personally like Top Gun Maverick to win. That's the biggest, definitely most fun time I had in the theater in quite a while. By the way, James Cameron maybe should have got nominated for Best Director in Avatar for the achievement, etc. So I don't think that would be that was a bit of a surprise nomination as well. They don't normally award like a $2 billion, $2 billion box office movies best nomination. Maybe that's a sign of change now. But yeah, there's a few in it. Banshees of Inisherin is, he's got a decent chance. Very Academy friendly, Oscar-esque movie. Everything Everywhere All at Once, a heavy favorite by critics. So I think it could be these. I haven't seen some of the others like Tar and some of the later ones you mentioned, Mike, but I don't know who's the favorite. I'm gonna go with Everything Everywhere All at Once. Yeah, I kind of like to see All Quiet on the Western Front, even though I haven't seen it because it is a foreign film. And yeah, it's nice to see foreign films win sometimes. But personally, yeah, I would like Top Gun Maverick to win. But I was going to say that there's a few that people are upset about that didn't get nominated, like The Woman King. Like the Batman, actually, people thought that was worth a share, but me personally,
The Whale.
Well, maybe yeah, it's a bit of has a bit of controversy attached to it though. But as The Woman King did, but other than that, I'm good. I mean, there's nothing that was crying out for me. There's no 10 out of 10 movies this year or last year even, so I was totally fine with it, to be honest, personally. But Top Gun for the win, hopefully, and what a crowning achievement that would be. But we'll see.
I mean, yeah, between Top Gun Maverick and Avatar: The Way of Water, we've got two blockbuster giants on for Best Picture. I mean, that does.
And of course, no nomination for Tom Cruise as well, Best Actor. That was one that I was thinking about before. That you mentioned. Yeah, that was people are a bit upset about that. Obviously unrealistic, but as a career, we're doing career awards nominations now, aren't we? So he has been nominated several times, of course, but that would be nice. But
look, it hasn't come out yet, but the next Mission Impossible, I did a reaction video to this mountain jump stunt that he did.
Give him a nomination.
If that alone, I know we don't do awards for
he should get a stunt award. Yeah,
a lifetime achievement award.
That is insane.
For cinema.
Like that's him doing that. That is insane to me. It's like that's not worthy of something. Like, personal feelings about Tom Cruise aside, just
he's 60 years old as well.
Yeah, no one else. Yeah, it's 60 years old. No one else is doing that kind of commitment. Like, it's like he screws that up, he dies.
Yeah,
he screws that up, he dies.
I mean, the last surviving movie star that we have.
Pretty much.
Yeah, you know,
And he's
this guy
starting
works.
to look his age now too. So I don't know how long we'll have him for.
I don't know about that,
hope
but he
he's
looks
back at 60.
fantastic
No,
for 60.
No,
Wow.
he does look really good for 60,
Yeah.
but
But he's starting
when
to
he
look
was
like he's getting into old man territory now.
He's
Yeah,
starting
yeah.
to look
Top
30,
Gun Maverick.
guys.
when
He's
Like,
starting to look
Yeah, no.
30.
yeah,
when you watched when Top Gun Maverick and he's there before, like sitting in like the chair saying thank you for watching this movie, I'm like, oh, he looks old.
I'm here for it. I am here
Yeah.
for old man Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
I'm here for that. You know, yeah, because that's just like the later stage of his career, and it's
Yeah.
exciting what stuff he's gonna do as an older guy, not like the love interest anymore. Well, obviously we'll have love interest, but it won't be
Of course,
like
they'll have a
like he's in Maverick,
He'll be
like he's in
23.
yeah, like he's in Top Gun Maverick though. He's the mentor. He's the that's teaching everyone, and yes, obviously a love interest there, but she's 50, whatever, and he's 60, or she's late 40s or whatever. So obviously she's he's still going to be that romantic lead or whatever. But I'm so here for his later stage of his career. Yeah, so he's an exciting guy for me. Yeah.
The idea of old man Tom Cruise has me thinking of Michael Caine and Robert Duvall in Secondhand Lions as just these two crotchety dudes flying a plane into a barn. Like that's going to be Tom Cruise someday. I
thought of Collateral, but like not being 35 and doing it, but being like actually 60.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Oh my man, I forgot about Collateral. It's a good movie. Yeah, interesting. I was rooting so hard for the Batman. I know people kind of. I mean, I get it. It's a comic.
You watch that movie every day.
I have watched
for an entire year.
I have watched that movie a lot. I love that movie, and I was surprised. I mean, like the technical awards and all that are great, but just like so. But it was just, I was hoping something like. But even we mentioned Paul Dano with the best supporting actor. Like I was surprised he didn't get. He's had a good year. I thought he could have gotten it from that. It'll be an interesting year to see. Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's rare for. I mean, I know it's a comedy, but like it's rare for a comedy to be nominated for an Academy Award, let alone win. And this thing has been taking over the Hollywood award scene. So
it kind of saved the box office and movie theaters this summer.
Yeah, it did.
I mean, Top Gun Maverick will say otherwise.
Also,
no, I thought you were talking about Top Gun Maverick for a second. I was going to say.
Oh
Top
no,
Gun
no, yeah, no, you're right.
Oh no. Sorry, I meant everything.
No, absolutely. I will say as well that All Quiet on the Western Front is not a Hollywood production.
It's true.
So I have a feeling, based on that alone, I will really like it. And for that, I'm kind of wanting that to win, and that to be honored rather than current Hollywood, which is really dropped in standards, to be honest, in terms of quality, for me personally. But,
I think it's part of the reason. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I mean it.
No, I was going to say I'm really sure I'm going to like that, and if I do like it, I want it to win.
Yeah, I'm really rooting for it because I do think that of the movies I've seen this year, not on this list, just of the movies I've seen this year, it's one of the most well-made movies, like period, top to bottom. So I think that the Foreign Film Award notwithstanding, I think it's got a really solid shot at it. But I am kind of I think that's part of the, like I said, I haven't seen a lot of these movies, most of them really. I think it's kind of like to what Boggs' point was. This wasn't a lot of stuff that was coming out either just didn't look interesting to me, and by the time I heard about it being really good, it was too late to go see it because it's not going to be.
Got COVID.
Or I got COVID.
No, but honestly, Mike,
or just ended up not being good.
It's you and everyone else. That's literally the common thing. This is the biggest, the year that I've seen the least amount of movies, or just generally on this list, from the acting awards to directing to the technical ones to the best picture. I've seen 5 to 10 to these, even less than 10 I've seen from all the movies we've mentioned here, and I've never pretty much done that in my life. So this year it's I'm just doubling down on what you're saying. It's just it's been a bit of a letdown.
I'm usually the one running the Oscar pool at the office every year. I've always done the guy, and I got asked if I was going to do it this year, and I said honestly, not. I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen any of these, and that is not a testament to whether or not they're good or not. Like it's I don't want to see Avatar, and I just haven't made it out to see Elvis yet. So it depends on what it is, but I've been hearing
too long.
I heard that. But it does, like, other than like Avatar: Way of the Water, box office giant, Top Gun Maverick, box office giant. It is just kind of interesting to see. It's like, I don't know if this is still the remnants of just movie making after COVID. You know, it's interesting to see what is and is not getting released and what is and is not getting nominated, I guess.
And what's getting pushed too.
Yeah. And
and you know, people are tired of being let down at the theaters. You know how expensive tickets are now, you know, compared to just a few years ago. It's just not worth it for people anymore. Because, you know, a multitude of different reasons, which I'm not going to go into. But this year, hoping that will be changed, you know, turned around because of the amount of things, you know, had been delayed from COVID, all being released this year. So it's a big year for Hollywood, big year for you know, box office in general. Yeah. So you know, if they hopefully we'll be rushing to the theaters more. And we won't be, you know, and it'll be an exciting time again to go, because at a certain point last year, I didn't go to the theaters for about 6 months, like pretty much all summer. There was no, from Top Gun Maverick, I don't remember, to the Avatar: The Way of Water, I don't remember many times I went to the theater.
If it wasn't a comic book movie, I wasn't going.
And I paid for A-list, and I wasn't going.
Never in my life have I done that. Never in my life have I gone for a month without going to the theater. So
yeah.
I mean,
quarantine notwithstanding, I've never gone that long without going to the theater. I remember, I mean, when I was in college, this was years ago, I used to go just, you know, when I was bored. And then as an adult, it was like, do I have a day off? I'm going to go see a movie. I'm going to go see, because like I have Cinemark Club. It's like, I'm going to go see something. Like there's all these movies out there. This year, every time I looked, I was like, I don't know.
It was such a dry summer.
I
remember what I broke my duck between Avatar: The Way of Water and Top Gun Maverick, and it should have been nominated for Best Picture. Black Adam. Just saying.
Nope.
I'm sorry. I've been holding in that laugh since you said broke my duck. That is the best expression I've ever heard in my life.
Oh, you not heard that? It's a cricket reference, actually.
Although I will say, I am actually a little surprised it didn't get any like visual effects,
special effects,
because whatever you feel about the movie, that was very well done in that movie.
Or best supporting actor for Henry Cavill, maybe. I
mean, that I'm gonna say yes, because Henry Cavill makes everything. He's always good at everything.
But for me this year, it's the movies that really shone out to me are the foreign films. For 2022. It's which is a good thing I speak Spanish, so I can like actually like watch some more of like, but I was watching films in Spanish, I was watching films in Arabic, I was watching films in Korean. Like they were the ones that were more interesting stories and more like interesting storytelling. And it's like the first year I was like, I think I watched more foreign films this year than I watched actual films like domestically, which has never happened.
Yeah. I mean, just from doing this, I mean, you guys seen, we've watched a lot more foreign stuff and reacted to a lot more foreign stuff. You know, particularly there's been great stuff coming out of like the Indian markets that we've seen. I'll be curious to see. We know we've got more stuff. Like there's a lot coming out this year, so I'm going to be really interested to see what this is going to look like next year, because I think 2022 is going to be one of those years because we have an Oscars and we just move on and see how we do with what's coming out this year. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah. And apart from, like you said, Mike, Avatar: The Way of Water and Top Gun Maverick, most of these releases, or the bigger hits, in terms of, you know, critically acclaimed, that kind of thing, a lot of them were streaming. You know, Everything Everywhere All at Once. You know, obviously it had a box office, but I think it's got more success on streaming. Banshees of Inisherin, you know, had a really small box office, a bit of an indie movie. You know, Tar, you know, and a lot of others. So Obviously, you got a few exceptions, Wakanda Forever, things like that, but generally, people it seems to be going that way. So it's a big year for Hollywood.
All
So
Quiet
we'll
on
see.
Netflix.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
sure.
It's gonna. Yeah, I think you're definitely right. You know, I think that seal is broken. You know, when COVID first started, the movies, the streaming movies being nominated was seemed like kind of a fluke. You know, they put out what little theater they changed the rules, and then it was like the Big Sick doing the okay, how much theater time does it have to be eligible? Pay for that much, and then drop it on streaming as soon as you can to start recouping some of that.
Which is why I think Roma didn't win, was because it did have that, oh, you're a Netflix film. And I
But
think,
go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, I don't think that's exists anymore. I don't think it doesn't matters.
I think everyone's kind of over it.
Yeah. I mean, you guys are right. But I'm just doubling down on the people are not seeing these movies enough, or not investing enough, or they're not being rewarded because they're not as good as these. They're just not that good anymore as a whole, of course. So it's such an interesting year this year for Hollywood and these big studios. I mean, they really, really need to step up.
Which is why I think we've seen a lot more, a much bigger trend of the truly independent movies being the Oscar forerunners, because those are the ones people are watching. They're not going out to theaters to see the big Hollywood movies. They either just don't look interesting or they can't afford to go. And it's like, I can stay at home and watch this really good one with an actor I'm familiar with, and then I watch it and it blows me away. Who knows if Everything Everywhere All at Once would have even gotten looked at 3 years ago? It's hard to say, because
it did well box office wise, though.
did.
Yeah.
But how much of that lends to like people, like with as far as like the critical push and people really
word of mouth?
Yeah.
If a movie is good and has good word of mouth, people are going to go see it. The problem with 2022 is that a lot of them weren't good, or a lot of them had mixed reception. So people said, I'll wait until it's free for me to watch.
Yeah, like ones like The Whale as well. I feel like, streaming, it will have more success there as well. And I think Everything Everywhere All at Once definitely made a profit, but it was like on a 25 million budget, which is credit to it. But again, it's really small scale. Again, streaming, or like lesser, like Mike's saying as well, indie movies are what people have been, putting their time and effort in. It's just interesting and massive year for Hollywood.
So we'll be interested to see what ends up coming of this. We'd love to know what you guys think about these nominations, what you think got snubbed, what you think maybe just shouldn't have gotten nominated, whatever the case might be. Make sure you guys let us know down in the comments. You can hit us up on Twitter. All of our Twitter information is in the description. Like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we're dropping videos all the time. Let us know what you guys think, and we'll see you guys again here next time on Off the Wall.